Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, teammates cause big crashes in Formula One and NASCAR. The Brickyard opened up today for testing, and Racers Reunion and really all of motorsports suffered a loss with James Hylton losing his life over the weekend. All this and more. Welcome to Speedway Report. It is Monday, April 30th, 2018. We are live from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. As we get going, winter weather is finally lifting over much of the U.S. as it has held on for a long time. Mother Nature cut us a break over the weekend, for the most part, not with everybody. I think that's impossible as we tour the victory lane lap each week. But we finally got a turn for the better when I'm not listing a whole lot of rainouts. So we'll get to some on-track action. Let's start with Talladega. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour ran the Geico 500 yesterday afternoon. Joey Logano found himself in victory lane after more than a year. Remember that win in Richmond, spring of 2017, had that encumbered win, eliminated him from the playoffs. The Penske team never seemed to recover as far as the 22 car in their performance. Looking better in 2018, parks it in victory lane yesterday at Talladega. The Xfinity cars raced 300 miles Saturday on the high banks in Alabama. Spencer Gallagher has led one lap in his entire Xfinity Series career. It was the last lap and the winning lap of Saturday's race at Talladega. His first career win at the GMS Motorsports car. Good for him. Hats off to him. We'd love to see new winners. Elliott Sadler was the winner of the Dash for Cash and an extra $100,000. For the second week in a row, the tour heads to Dover this weekend for their fourth Dash for Cash race and another $100,000 this Saturday afternoon. NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour hit probably the most established race on their schedule, the Spring Sizzler, the greatest race in the history of spring. Held yesterday in Stafford, Connecticut, 200 laps around the half-mile oval. Ryan Preece was your winner for the second year in a row in the Sizzler. Is there a debate here that Preece could be, in all of NASCAR, the hottest guy right now with his wins in the Xfinity Series, his runs for Joe Gibbs Racing, and now he parks it in victory lane at the Sizzler? NASCAR's K&N Pro Series East Tour was up the road from us here in North Carolina in Langley, Virginia. Tyler Dipple, a New York native, found his way to the checkered flags first. Formula One raced Sunday morning in Baku City, Azerbaijan, and Lewis Hamilton was your winner. You're thinking, if you did not see the race, yeah, Hamilton won again, Mercedes won again, big deal. Not the case. It was a crazy F1 race. We're going to dissect it in a little bit. I'm kind of stuck which is my favorite name to say today, Talladega or Azerbaijan. Two tongue twisters. I dig them, though. NHRA was locally here to us in Charlotte, North Carolina at the 4-Wide Nationals at the ZMAX Dragway. One of two that they run this year. We talked about this a few weeks ago in Las Vegas. The original 4-Wides here in Concord, North Carolina. Steve Torrance was your winner in Top Fuel. Cruz Pedregon in Funny Car. Our girl Erica Enders in Pro Stocks. And Jerry Savoy in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Been about 2 years since Erica has seen her Awali on her shelf. Interestingly enough, in Top Fuel and Funny Car, the Force sisters were the two fastest qualifiers. Didn't transfer to wins, obviously, but the speed is definitely there in the JFR cars. Jumping over to the dirt, the Lucas Oil late models were in Granite City, Illinois on Friday night, where Bobby Pierce won the A-Main. He got out the broom Saturday in Macon, Illinois, and he took the A-Main on Saturday as well. The World of Outlaw late models, these guys have been bugged all year with weather. They raced a doubleheader in Maryville, Tennessee. On Friday night, Chris Madden was your winner. They got clear on Saturday, raced again. Dale McDowell, the feature winner Saturday night. World of Outlaw sprints, Also got blessed with some good weather. They made up a twice postponed event already in Page, Texas on Wednesday night. David Gravel was your winner. That's his first win of the season. In Mesquite, Texas on Friday night, Darren Pittman was your winner. And on Saturday, who else? Donnie Schatz wins again. So I'm thinking with, let's see, Priest winning the Sizzler, Joey Logano winning at Talladega, and Gravel winning the World of Outlaws on Wednesday. Pretty good numbers there for the Connecticut boys on the national scene. The ARCA cars raced Friday afternoon at Talladega. Zane Smith won over Joe Graff in the closest finish in series history. One of those door-leaning finishes, could not quite tell with the naked eye. Went to the electric eye, went up to, 3 or 4 decimal places. Zane Smith, nice win for him at Talladega. USAC Silver Crown raced last night, a Sunday night event in Terre Haute, Indiana. Justin Grant was your winner of the 100-lap feature. Cool to see a healthy 28-car field show up for this sucker. Silver Crown cars, I like the big cars. One of my favorite USAC division. We'll call it what it is. Love the big cars, like the size of these things, but fields have been in the teens, almost dipping into single digits for a few of their races. 28 cars showed up for the half mile in Indiana. I'm digging that. I like some health with the Silver Crown cars. I'll be out in Indiana, next month. Starts tomorrow. You got that. But I'm looking forward to seeing some Silver Crown racing there. USAC Sprints were in Indiana on Friday night. They raced in Bloomington. Dave Darland won his 60th career USAC Sprint car win. One of the Hall of Famers in USAC Sprints, if there ever was one. And on Saturday night in Hobstadt, Indiana, Kevin Thomas Jr. Took the checkered flag. Grandview, Pennsylvania is our dark horse of the week. They did get rained out. All the bragging I did with the weather. The Hill did get rained out, so they did not race. But locally here in Bowman Gray Stadium, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Burt Myers and brother Jason Myers split the twin 25s at the Madhouse. Even the Sizzler up in Connecticut was rain delayed for the start. They did get the whole show in, but they were probably a couple hours behind schedule when they dropped the green flag. So dodged some raindrops up there. But for the weather we've had for the Northeast, call it what it is for the country in 2018, it's kind of stunk. And it was good to see the clouds part, sun come out, and get some good racing in, even at Talladega. April 30th, I announced that at the top of the show. That means it is May Eve. Yeah, it is a holiday. Tomorrow is May 1st. Folks joining the show, new to auto racing, might go, so? Racers get that. The month of May is here. We opened up the gates today for Indianapolis testing. We're going to talk about all that in a little bit. Month of May, a magical time. Picture me 8 years old, and this is November 30th. Santa Claus is a big thing in my life. Maybe I'm 6 years old, 5 years old. Call me what you will. And tomorrow would be December 1st. That's what I'm feeling right now. That's important to me. May is almost here. But let's begin with James Hylton, a true loss to all of auto racing. Jerry Smith had some good talk about James Hylton in the Stars Radio. So if you want to go to Jerry Smith's Facebook page, you can catch a rebroadcast of that video. They talked about Hylton a lot. James Hylton was killed on the way home from the ARCA race Friday afternoon at Talladega that we talked about. Got up I-85, was in South Carolina. The hauler crashed. He and his son were both killed. Now, James Hylton was a Racers Reunion kind of driver. He's the guy that relates to the foundation and the core of where this show began on the original network, Racers Reunion. Began of compiling the photographs and stories and archiving stock car racing history, where the sport began, how it grew, where it came from. James Hylton, one of those guys. He was in his 80s when he passed away on Friday. The kind of guy that needed the prize money to get to the next race. He raced for groceries. He raced to pay bills. This is how he made a living. His performance on the track determined his future. He needed that prize money to keep the race team going and to feed his family. Winner at Talladega, winner at Richmond in what's now known as the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. We call it the Premier Series, but back Grand National Racing. He was there before Winston even sponsored the series. Past Rookie of the Year in the series as well. And just, this was the guy, the heart of the racer. I hope he's more than just a name to some of the younger folks that are new to the sport. Even if, 20 and 30-year-olds have been in the sport all their life, they may not be familiar with him. He was so active recently in the ARCA series and never quit racing. Just as a driver, he was fielding cars, but he was a fixture on the Grand National Tour. I put him in the same group of guys as I was growing up. Not one of the superstars, but a guy that was there every single week. I looked at Richard Petty and David Pearson and the Allisons and Cale Yarborough as the stars when I was a young man, becoming a fan of the sport. Heck, the new guy on the block was Darrell Waltrip. That's how old I am. I remember when he was a young kid in this sport. James Hylton, even though he won some races, I would group him in that guys of the J.D. McDuffies, the Jimmy Means, the Tommy Gales, the guys that you wouldn't put as a threat to win every week, but they were there to race. They were serious racers, and you could depend on them being part of this field every week. A lot of those replays that you might YouTube from years ago of the Grand National Series, that Wide World of Sports on ABC carried a week or two after the race when it was edited down between ballet dancing and sumo wrestling and cliff diving. You'll find a lot of highlights of James Hylton. He was a part of those fields. And gosh, the original 48, we talk about Jimmy Johnson being so identified with that 48 car. That was Hylton's number. He had the 48 back in the day. But this is a great time to remember a great man. The people like Hylton, James Hylton, and the folks like him are why we are here today with that Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. We talked about Logano winning the race and Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. These guys are making millions today and are the superstars they are today and are stars of a sport of today because of James Hylton and the type of person he was of yesterday. The people like him built this sport on their dirty fingernails, bruised knuckles, sweat, the energy, the passion they put into this sport strictly because they were racers. Did not make a lot of money, barely scraped by week to week on the prize money. This is what stock car racing was built on. Auto racing as a sport, beyond stock car racing. James Hylton was the type of guy that we can all be thankful for, that we have this glorious sport that we enjoy today. As much as I criticize it, it is still a glorious sport, and I got James Hylton to thank for that. So rest in peace, James, and please keep the Hylton family in your prayers at the time of this great loss. Now, I'm going to complain about NASCAR again right now after moving tribute to Hylton and talking about the history of NASCAR. NASCAR has acquired the ARCA series. This will take place following the 2019 season and will begin in the 2020 year and moving forward. Folks, I see no good come from this. I don't see anything at all. ARCA needed something else to boost it any higher than it was going to be. Not that it necessarily needed to go to any more than what it already was. It was great how it is. It's great how it is now. It doesn't have to be some form of NASCAR to push it along. I'm going to give you a list here of things that NASCAR has gotten its hand on. Winston West, NASCAR North, the Southern Modified Tour, All Pro, Southwest Tour, Northwest Tour, the Dash Series, the Busch All-Star Tour, the Grand American Tour. You know what they all have in common? None of them are around anymore. NASCAR ran all of them. Some of them right into the ground. Now, the Winston West Series is now the K&N West Series now. NASCAR North is now the K&N East Series. Somebody told me the Southern Mod Tour was absorbed into the Modified Tour. I disagreed. It was tacking a couple of Southern races onto the Mod Tour and calling it an absorption. I don't, there was 2 tours. The Smart Tour ran first, was doing well. The Southern Modified Tour was created after that. It took the place of the Smart Tour. Now there is none. There is the Southern Modified Racing Series, which dabbles in between Bowman Gray Stadium. But you've got to look at Bob Harmon's All-Pro Tour, which was a monster of pavement late model racing. No longer exists. It got taken over by NASCAR. In the Southwest Tour, the Northwest Tour, at one time, these were super late model series that were absolute fantastic short track entities. Guys would make a living racing short tracks. Then guys quit making a living doing this, and then they disappeared altogether. I used to love the Dash Series. The Busch All-Star Tour was a dirt late model tour. How many of you remember that? The Grand American Cars was about the birth of the, around the same time as the birth of the late model stocks. That was a touring series as well as a weekly class. They're all gone. They don't exist anymore. I see ARCA as a good thing right now, has been a good thing for decades. When I start this, I've seen this pattern before. I don't see any good for ARCA, coming from the NASCAR world, NASCAR absorbing this, NASCAR purchasing it. Everybody, I've been listening to so many people said, give it a chance, give it a chance. Yeah, we gave the Chase a chance in 2004. What's it gotten us? Here we are in 2018. We've got stages. Give it a chance. I gave it a chance. It sucks. I'm feeling sad of what the potential downside of this is for ARCA. I'll always admit I could be wrong. I'll also say when the sun comes up in the east every morning, at some point, I start to trust it. I look at the carcasses, this list of carcasses that NASCAR left in its wake. There we go. Unfortunately, I feel very sad for ARCA, its fans, and everything that it meant. I like the super speedways, the short tracks, the road courses, the dirt ovals as well, the dirt miles that they run in late summer and over Labor Day weekend. I hope the diversity of all this continues and we don't NASCAR-ize this thing as well as then run it into the ground and into oblivion, because we've done that a whole lot over the course of the history. In Indy testing today, April 30th. Yeah, is it May yet? Technically, no. It's still April. A hashtag, is it May? It will be tomorrow. It will be tomorrow. And it was a glorious sight to see today. I clicked online, saw the Indy cars testing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the May 27th Indy 500. Lovely, beautiful sound. Makes my heart sing. I was so psyched. We ran a morning session began, I think, at 10 a.m. this morning. 2 sessions today. Marco Andretti was quickest in the morning. Fastest this afternoon and overall for the day was Tony Kanaan, 2013 500-mile winner. 2:26 plus. That is a pretty stout speed for the first day of testing with in 2018 with the new aero kits on these cars, which look a whole lot different, drive a whole lot different, and boy, that's pretty respectable speed on the first day right out of the box. Expect them to climb. They should be, into the 230 range plenty by the time we get to qualifying. Late in the day, Joseph Newgarden tested the new windscreen for the IndyCars. You've seen the halo in Formula One. IndyCar is looking to adopt a windscreen for the safety aspect of it. It is not a full-fledged canopy that we've seen in Top Fuel in the NHRA, but more of a tall windscreen that goes above the driver's head for protection. Joseph Newgarden was testing out visibility with his helmet, different visors, and there also is a low-pressure area behind the windscreen and in front of the driver's helmet, which actually sucks the driver's head forward in this. So they'll work out the bugs for this and a good safety measure. As you look at the car, it's tough to notice on video. It is tough to notice on video as opposed to the halo in Formula One, which is, we want something that looks good, but is very protective of these drivers and gives them a good sense of feel and safety in these cars. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm all for safety. I was, big safety advocate of something like this in the Justin Wilson incident at Pocono a few years ago that took his life. But I was concerned over what the ramifications would be if we had something like this in the James Hinchcliffe crash from Indy a few years ago, which almost took his life, if there was a canopy or something in the way of there. This is a nice compromise. This could be right what we need to keep the drivers safer, but still allow easy extraction if there is a very, very serious crash on an oval like we had with Hinchcliffe. And Elio Castroneves was testing back in an IndyCar this season, full-time IMSA ride. The yellow submarine is back, the same paint scheme he ran last year with Pennzoil colors, same one Rick Mears and Johnny Rutherford made famous in the 80s with the Pennzoil colors in bright yellow. Looks cool. Teammates. Let's not quite go there yet. I'm going to back up to the Formula One race at Azerbaijan. Big crash between the Red Bull guys, Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. You could say one was in charge of the nose of his car. The other guy was in charge of blocking. And anyway, they got into each other, got taken out. Both are going to the principal's office. Both are going to the Red Bull factory this week to apologize to the team. Well, they're going before the Spanish race, before the race in Spain coming up here. They will go to apologize. Now, the Formula One mindset is totally different than what we do in stock car racing, which so many of you guys are used to, where you're going for the win and it's all about you. In Formula One, each team has 2 entries in the race, and the mindset is maximum points for the team. That is the idea. That is how you run those races. The Constructors' Championship pays all these gobs and gobs of money to these guys. The Drivers' Championship does not, as opposed to what let's take what's popular in NASCAR as the Drivers' Championship. There's also an Owners' Championship. Doesn't get as much limelight or fanfare, but in Formula One, that's a huge deal. That's where all of the money is in the Constructors' Championship. That is where those many commas and dollar signs come from. This is a big deal when teammates take each other out when they're fighting for the win. Because the Drivers' Championship, which we follow as fans, is secondary to the team's budget as opposed to the manufacturers or the Constructors' Championship. That was a big screw-up on the Red Bull drivers for sticking their nose into each other and blocking each other and banging off wheels of each other and eventually taking each other out. Big deal. Late in the race, Lewis Hamilton restarted third with 3 laps to go. Sebastian Vettel was in second, had a big brake lockup, which dropped him off the podium. And then Valtteri Bottas was leading the race and had a flat tire, which bumped Hamilton from third to first. When's the last time a guy went from third to first in the last 3 laps of a Formula One street course? Doesn't happen. It happened in Baku City on Sunday morning. Outstanding race that kept me on the edge of my seat. You got Romain Grosjean for the Haas team crashing under caution. The late races, Kimi Räikkönen finished second, and Sergio Perez, great underdog to round out the podium there. And speaking of teammates that crashed, we talked about Red Bull. Jimmy Johnson and William Byron did not quite get together, but Jimmy went around and caused that big pileup in Talladega yesterday. They're so close. Byron went around as well, but it seemed so close. It would look like Byron did hit Jimmy Johnson, but the replay shows he didn't. The 2 of them never touched, and Johnson went around. Didn't know if that was an aerodynamic thing or not. Never did get the full scoop on that. But I always think it's good dirt when teammates get together. We don't really have any dirt brewing at Hendrick, but we've got some awesome stuff brewing at Red Bull. I would pay serious money to somebody Facebook Live this thing for me. Put it online. I want to see these guys apologize to the team, and I want to see Christian Horner peel him a new one. That would be cool stuff. And just this in, a few hours ago, IMSA will be moving to NBC in 2019. They have been with Fox and Speed Channel and what have you for so many years. NBC and their platforms take over in 2019. Everybody in between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This show, all of our past shows, are uploaded onto the site. We've got racing articles to read, and the winter weather is finally gone. You're getting outside, but you can still grab a podcast and some racing reading material. SpeedwayReport.com. Now, our broadcast here in our past episodes are on Facebook at my page. They're on the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds show page. They're on the Racers Reunion page. And on Twitter, we're at Speedway Report and at Speedway Pat. Take your pick. The shows are there. They're on racersreunion.com in the forums, speedwayreport.com, our website, and Google+, LinkedIn, Facebook if you're personally connected to me. And we just cranked up a brand new Speedway Report YouTube channel. We upload a lot of them there, so go check it. If you want past shows, I've got them for years, and they're all right there. Big thanks for everyone on the Facebook feed for joining the conversation during the show tonight. I'll be talking to you guys soon, a little bit later. Please go see a race at a track near you. The grassroots, ovals, drag strips, and road courses are the backbone and foundation of the auto racing world. So please go support your local track this weekend. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A big salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with Draglist.com. BP, JB, and BS will cover drag racing along with some great music. Speedway Report will be back live next Monday, May the 7th. That's my sister's birthday. Be here for that. Big show. We'll wrap up NASCAR in Dover and NHRA in Atlanta, short tracks, and a whole lot more. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, I'll see you guys next time.